All right, so hello everyone. My name is Shantell Lewis, and I am an artist as well as a committee member for the 2021 Black Lives Matter RVA Art Show. And today I have the privilege of doing an artist talk with two amazing artists that have submitted very distinctive pieces for the art show. And those artists are Mr. Ronald Walton and Mr. Dennis Winston. And I know you guys are just as excited as I am about the artist talk, so I'll jump in and do my first question. And that question is for Mr. Winston. Can you tell the viewers about why you became an artist and share a little bit about your technique and medium?
Thank you. Well, I've been an artist for a number of years. I retired as an educator. I was a teacher. I've taught at all over the place at universities, Richmond Public Schools. I was the coordinator for arts and humanities. And so I've been involved in arts all my life. When I was very young, from middle school on, I created works with all kinds of materials, sculpture, ceramics, painting. When I was very, very young, I would make things when I lived in the country. I would dig clay out of the earth, and I would go out into the forest and grab a lot of natural materials and make all kinds of artifacts and sculptural items. When I was in college, I became a photographer. I did sculpture, I did ceramics, I did large abstract paintings. And in my later career, I sort of gravitated towards what I refer to as multiple originals, which is the woodcut print. And how I do those prints is basically I take sharp tools, little knives, and I actually draw on a surface of my wood block, such as this particular one, which I'm trying to get started. And I will actually cut that image out into that surface of that wood. And then I will apply ink with a brayer on that surface of that wood and rub that back of that paper, and the image will transfer from the surface of the wood to the paper. So I refer to this as multiple originals because I can do multiples of my work, whereas when I do a painting or a drawing, there's only one original. But with the woodcut, it's a printmaking process, so you get multiple originals of your work. And most of the work that I do is something that I really value because it says a lot about who I am and what I value and my interests and life and how I respond to others through my work. So that's why it's important for me to be an artist.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Winston. And same question to you, Mr. Walton. Why did you become an artist, and share a little bit about your technique and medium that you use?
Well, I became an artist, I just became an artist. One of the things I started off painting when I was in public school, and actually I got my, and I got my first easel through my grandfather. He owned a painting company in Hartford, Connecticut. So that was a start for me. And then by going to junior high school and down in the theater district, I've learned about the art there, plus going to plays in the theater district back then. And then growing up in Lincoln Center, that was a great inspiration for me too, in terms of my art and my technique. And just being around a lot of artists back then. And, you know, one of my neighbors was Thelonious Monk. So that had a lot of inspiration in terms of me producing art. And my technique is one of the things that, I started off doing abstract and painting directly to the canvas, oil on canvas. And then eventually I led into collage paper on canvas, which I'm doing today, you know, at present. So it was, and it's been very inspirational in terms of just the whole scene, in terms of the jazz and the inspiration in terms of putting paper to canvas and it's almost like a collage, a cutout, in reference to how I do it. And that's basically it. And then to add color to it. That's another phase in terms of preparation. So it's interesting. I mean, it's what it is.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that information. It's always interesting to hear and to see how an artist got their start and their techniques. And both of you use very interesting techniques. And that's the main reason why I selected both of you for the Artist Talk. So speaking of which, let's actually look at the artwork that you submitted for the actual art show. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Winston. And bring up your artwork. Okay, perfect. Are you seeing the artwork now?
Correct. I am seeing the work.
Okay, perfect. So can you discuss the artwork that you submitted for the show and include why you created it and what it means to you for these two pieces?
Okay, the first piece that you're looking at is Sunday Morning in Birmingham, 1963. During the time of this particular thing, this particular work, I was dedicated to the memory of 4 young lives that were taken in the bomb blast in the church in Birmingham on September 15, 1963, the 16th Street Baptist Church. These young people were in Sunday school. They were buried in the basement when dynamite exploded in the church where they were. And this city has suffered so many bombings that it was referred to as Birmingham. Birmingham was referred to as Birmingham. So what I wanted to do is a reminder of the murder of these young people, and they were innocent victims in the struggle for human rights and dignity during the civil rights era. So what I did was I created these 4 images, and of course it represents the red, it represents the bombing, and the structure behind the heads represents the structure of the church that's left with the broken windows. The young ladies aren't identified singularly because of the fact that it didn't matter who you were, your age group, socioeconomic level, you were all the same because you were a person of color and you were murdered, lynched, and all of those kinds of things. And so that's what this talks about, a very painful period in our history. And it definitely relates to what's going on today. And when you refer to what's happening with Black Lives Matter. The other piece I did because it was pretty in my mind prior to all the things that happened on Monument Avenue and the Black Lives Matter and all of that. And that was during the era of Donald Trump and all the shootings and Trayvon Martin and all the social unrest in our country. And it's called Biting at Each Other. And so I wanted to kind of think in terms of something that would make people understand how I felt about what was going on based on my perception of what I could see was happening in America. And I use a Dinkra symbol from Ghana, which is a symbol that symbolizes something. And that little circle down at the bottom is a symbol that represents 2 fish attempting to bite each other's tails, and that's what it is. And that symbol is a warning against backbiting. It's a warning against an advocacy for harmony, peace, unity, forgiveness, and fair play. So in this particular work, there's Black image and a white image, sort of back to back, with the person in the middle contemplating the condition of what we are living in today. And so that's why this particular piece was done. I like for the work to invoke people to have a conversation about it. I want people to bring their own stories to my work and respond to it from the perspective of how they feel and how they react to it. So that's kind of what I've done in these 2 particular pieces, but it is something that relates to the history of civil rights and the struggle for equality in this country, both of those particular pieces.
Okay. Well, thank you for that explanation of your artwork. Beautiful pieces, very dynamic pieces. The Birmingham piece really took me back to a point in history when I saw it. So thank you for sharing. And Mr.
You're welcome.
Walton,
Thank
same
you.
question. Can you discuss the artwork that you submitted for the art show? And please include why you created it and what it means to you.
Well, I created American drama because there's so much drama that's happening in this country at the present time and in the past, you know. And in the piece, you see that there are people in there, and they're somewhat fighting in terms of emotion inside the piece, and it's a collage with the different textures in it. And it's one of those pieces that that you just have to look at and think about, because there's so much drama that's happening in this country at the present time. So and it relates back to the Black Lives Matter to what's going on in the past year, you know. So it's one of those American drama pieces.
Okay. And what about the lineup? Can you talk about that?
The lineup is created a couple years ago, but it's at present to today, because with the voting and the demonstrations and what's happening, there's so much. It seems like everything is a lineup today, you know. So it's what makes it unique is the people that's in the piece, you know, that they're all facing in the opposite direction, you know, as far as a lineup.
Okay, now I'm a collage artist, so color and pattern is very important to me in my work. Can you tell me why you chose the colors that you did in the lineup? I'm just curious.
Well, I try to be a colorist, and I just want to have a little flavor in terms of I guess I don't know. I mean, it just comes to me, the colors, you know. There's no real reason for it, you know. Just everything flows, you know. And when I have the music on, everything flows if I have music on, you know.
Okay,
so,
I listen to Stevie Wonder when I'm doing my work. What do you listen to?
Well, I listen to Monk, Miles, Horace Silver, Betty Carter, Roy Hargrove, Vincent Herring, you know, a number of jazz artists, you know, and they all have their interpretations of style, and you know, it helps me also to feel the groove, you know, and the colors just come out, you know. You know, there's no specific reason why the colors are there, except for the American drama, you know. But it just flows, you know. It just flows.
Okay, perfect. So we're down to the last two questions, and you both spoke about the Black Lives Matter movement. So let me ask, and I'll start with you, Mr. Winston. Why did you decide to place artwork in the Black Lives Matter RVA art show?
Well, with everything that's going on, I decided at the last minute really to put something in. I was in the initial show, and they actually used one of my pieces as the cover piece for the show. And it's a piece called Stop the Killing, and it had multiple meanings in that particular work. And I thought it was something that with these particular pieces would lend itself to the concept and the ideas of the Black Lives movement. So I wanted to participate and be a part of something that I thought would deliver some constructive talk about all that's been going on, because I think in terms of the pandemic, when George Floyd was down on the ground and people watched a man being executed and live and live in color, I think that it made people realize that all the things that have been said about police brutality and how the justice was not passed out in an equal fashion in this country, I think people began to really see that, and people were able to start reacting and just couldn't believe their eyes. And I think that that made me want to do my part to engage in that conversation about how I feel about what's going on in this country, especially someone who served in the military, who's worked hard, who's done all the things that people expect good Americans to do. But then I look at some of my fellow brothers and sisters, no matter what they do, they still can be shot down in the street. People can just take your life. And it goes back to things that have happened in our history. So it was a very painful period in my life. I was actually doing a project for the Wilton House at the time, which dealt with slavery. So I was going through a lot of the mixed emotions about what's going on in the country with the past president and all the negative, as Brother Walton said, the lineup and all the disarray and disruption in our country that we shouldn't be seeing at this point in our history.
Okay. Well, thank you for that response. No, it's okay.
It was beautiful.
Yes, it was. And Mr. Walton, same question for you. Mr. Walton, why did you decide to place artwork in the Black Lives Matter art show?
I wanted to let the viewers see my side of the story in terms of the art world. And I think it's appropriate that artists, if they get a chance, do demonstrate in reference to Black Lives Matter. And it also helps the viewer think deeply into why and what's happening in the world that is relating to Black Lives Matter. You know, there's so much going on that's hardship that we need to demonstrate it, you know. And I think that, like Mr. Dennis Winston said, that George Ford is a great example that we really need to push the limits in terms of the artwork, you know. So I'm happy and I'm grateful that you picked these two paintings, and I'm just grateful. So to all that is viewing my work and the works that are in the show, kudos.
Okay, well, perfect. It's funny because the last question I had was, how did the content of your artwork contribute or align with the Black Lives Matter movement? But you guys answered that question with your responses. So let's do this. I would like for my very last question to be, what are you guys working on now? I know the pandemic has hit and may have changed some things for artists, but and we'll start with you, Mr. Walton. Can you share anything or any new art or projects that you're working on now?
Well, right now I'm trying to put a Black book together in terms of drawings. You know, and it's going to relate to, when I say Black book, it's going to relate to Black Lives Matter, and it's going to be in an abstract form, the book, and it's going to be exciting, you know, I think anyway. It's going to be basically Black with different shades of Black, and it's going to relate to the past and the present, you know. So this is one of the American dramas that we're going to look into for the future.
Okay, well, I'm excited to get that book when it's done. I'll be first in line, and promise me you'll autograph it.
Will do.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to it. This is being recorded, so I'll hold you to it. And now, Mr. Winston, what are you currently working on? Any new artwork, any new projects? Can you share with us?
Well, right now I'm in a show that's traveling in India, and I'm honored to be included in that show. It's a show from it's entitled Negritude. It's an exhibition of African American art that's traveling in multiple museums in India, and I was honored to be included in that. And some of the people in that show will be people like Al Hollingsworth, Alma Thomas, Jacob Lawrence, Benny
I'm
Andrews.
losing you a little bit, Mr. Winston.
Oh, I'm
There
just
we go. I
saying.
can hear you now. Okay.
I'm just saying that I'm in a first traveling show of African American art that's traveling in Asia, and it's going to a number of museums. And some of the people in the show are people like Jacob Lawrence and Benny Andrews and Al Hollingsworth and Alma Thomas. So I'm just honored to be in there. And it's the first major traveling show of African American art in Asia of this particular size. And I'm also engaged in this project at Wilton House, in which my work was selected to be part of that exhibition, and how archaeology and imageries that I've created can help to tell the stories of the enslaved peoples on this particular plantation. And I'm also doing another show that's going to open in North Carolina, and I think that show will be a show where I will actually be exhibiting with a group of artists, including people like John Biggers, the recent John Biggers work. So I've just been very fortunate in that, and trying to get some things done in that respect. So I stay pretty busy illustrating and doing other kinds of activities, and just whatever gets me going. Sometimes I draw, sometimes I paint, sometimes I will create these woodcuts. So I'm always engaged. I'm like Brother Walton. He stays active, and I admire the work that he does and how he maintains a strict discipline in pursuing his work. And I'm trying to be like him when I grow up.
No, don't. Thanks, Dennis, but I'm trying to be like you.
And I'm trying to be like both of you. Okay.
No.
All right. Well, it has been great to spend time with both of you. This will conclude our artist talk. So I would like to thank you so much, Mr. Winston and Mr. Walton, for just taking the time out your busy schedule to complete the artist talk for the Black Lives Matter RVA 2021 art show.
I
also would like to thank one of our sponsors, the Black Onyx Guide, for assisting me with this talk, providing the platform for us to use, as well as having an article, an ad space on their site, on their artist directory about our talk, to really promote it and advertise it. So everyone can get the opportunity to view your artwork, go to your websites, and view more of the wonderful artwork that you guys are providing. So I thank you so much, and I do thank the viewers for taking the time to view our artist talk. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank Black Onyx and yourself, Ms. Shantell Lewis.
And I echo the same feelings. Thank you.
All right, thank you.